Cool. Should we add Seth? Just
wait. I think, wait.
Yeah, sure. Oh, I guess you can stop. Welcome. People are still joining, but we'll talk for a little bit, and then we're going to add Seth in. But welcome to a reading of "Dedicated to Life" by Seth Price.
Here, I can read the showcase.
This is Little Internet. I'm Carly, and we're in Galerie Isabella Bortolozzi in Berlin right now. And for the next hour or so, we're going to be your hosts as we talk to friends in Berlin and in New York and LA who are going to read selections from this book with us. The people joining us today are Christopher Bollen, Kim Gordon, Juliana Huxtable, Jutta Koether, Josephine Pryde, Stacy Skolnick, and Emily Sundblad. The book is 177 pages of prose and drawings. Lots of nice illustrations that Seth penned between 9/11 and the first weeks of COVID-19, which is to say the 2 decades of weirdening as screens replaced faces and the algorithm slowly melted our collective brains into a gurgling sea of scrollable goo. But dispersion, displacement, technological abstraction, this is Seth's métier. You know, the first time I heard the word uncanny valley was actually spoken in Seth's ongoing work from 2007, Redistribution. More recently, Seth has been thinking about necromancy, the practice of using the dark arts to communicate with the dead, or moreover, to quote Seth, capitalist technomancy, using technological tools in a magic way to harness the internet's matrix of bodies, energy, symbols for gain, or what he also refers to as a kind of necropolitics. In any case, we're launching this book, Dedicated to Life, which I keep misreading as Addicted to Life. It's almost an anagram, it's just missing an E. On the occasion of Seth's show, which you see behind us. This is a very beautiful vine sculpture, magic ladder, I guess extracted from Connecticut and shipped to Berlin. But a big thank you to Isabella for inviting us to do this launch, and to Seth, and to Philip and Aisha at the Gallery for coordinating. That's all of this is the nice preamble. I think we're about to add you. Okay. All right, yeah. Okay, add in a second.
Here we go.
All right. Hey,
Hi.
Seth.
Hi. Thank you for introducing. Hey, everybody.
Congrats on your book launch.
Thank you. This is very special for me. I'm glad all these friends are here, connecting across space and time.
Jutta and Josephine are here, and Juliana's on her way, I think. So we're toasting you.
Cool.
Yes, congratulations.
I'm sure people are still joining, but maybe before we start reading, do you want to say just like a couple of words about the genesis of the book, or like sort of when you first realized it was going to be a book?
Yeah, well, it started as something totally different, which was, it's still preserved in there. It was a young adult novel, a kind of experimental young adult novel I tried to start writing in 2013 and failed completely. No one's ever seeing that. It was like 200 pages of garbage, but I extractivated bits and turned them into these poems, and just published it in April. Actually, in March we were going to press, and like the guy at the press emailed me in the morning and said, "I think we're all good with paper. Why don't you give me a call?" And I called him in the afternoon. It was like March 19th, and they were like, "Who?" "Oh, he doesn't work here anymore." And I was like, "Oh, fuck." and then you know, everything locked down, and but then printing turned out to be an essential business, so they were able to get it out there, and now we're finally able to connect over Instagram and talk about it. I don't know what else to say. I wouldn't mind diving into the reading, but if you have something to ask.
No, actually, what I will say is that at the end of this, we're going to read for about the next hour. There's, lots of different people in different places, probably somewhere around an hour, maybe a little less. And then after that, it would actually be great to have you come back on. Oops. To have you come back on, and maybe we could just do like a, internet style AMA where people could like ask you some questions. The wide open sea can ask you
Yeah,
whatever
wide
they're
open.
dying to ask you.
Let's do it.
I have one quick question.
Yeah.
Maybe for some context, why did you want to write a young adult novel, particularly?
That's. I'm trying to think if I want to go into that swamp.
Yeah, we can save it, but
No, I could say I wanted to. I'm trying to put my head back into like 2013. I think it was something about the infantilization and youth culture, like, which is actually often managed and profited from by people who are not youth, and just kind of like running rampant in the culture and trying to get in on that. What's happened to Hollywood in the last 20 years, trying to do something very strange as a challenge. By the way, it was kind of, Chris, who's going to read later, is one of the few people who saw any of the book. When I went to him, like in probably like February 2014, we met at the Smile, and I gave him the first chapter, and he was very decent, let me inflict it on him, and then he was like, "What the fuck is this?" Because it wasn't written for the protagonist, which will crop up in this reading, I think, is or was a 10-year-old girl, but it wasn't intended really as a book to be read by kids. It's totally inappropriate for kids. I was trying to throw in as much inappropriate stuff as possible. But I think I don't want to say too much about it because it really like crashed and burned. And like, I think this iteration is much better. This is like some of the good stuff like plucked out. So, but we can talk more about it in the AMA.
Chris's lies. I loved it. Well, without further ado, maybe we invite Jutta to start reading, and we come back and we visit you in, I don't know, sometime within the next hour.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, Jutta. So we're now going to hear from Jutta Koether, who's joining us here in the gallery. Okay, bye, Seth. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Hello, I'm Jutta, and yes, we were asked to pick out something that we like to read. Of course, everybody has their own choices, and I was actually I'm reading the introduction. But before I read the introduction, I want to read a really small piece from right in the middle of the book, just because I think it's disturbing and funny. One who does the disallowed thing. What is disallowed? It is not allowed for a thing to become other than itself, to depart from itself, or to be itself, and also be something other than itself. Well, okay then, let's consider pleasure, sex, and smiles, and how they're pearled into profits. Picasso, obviously obsessed with sex and women, he sure made enough randy work to confirm it, but he was notoriously undersexed, and proto-incel, if you believe the reports, which would include a close read of his mistress's correspondence, as well as several of his biographies, though not John Richardson's, that social climber, anyway. It's perfectly clear that Picasso either could not or would not do sex, sometimes foregoing it for up to 2 years. When he did have sex, it correlated with periods of inactivity and artistic frustration. Contrary-wise, he was at his most productive when he was essentially celibate. Like a magic receding nightclub kaleidoscope, seeing in the daylight of a propped door, when it's all mopped out. I was about to send this to press when COVID-19 abruptly pulled us into a new age. Art made before the rupture suddenly looks different, flickering with new meanings and demeanings. My book seemed to shift colors in my hands. Back in 2002, in the aftershocks of 9/11, I wrote Dispersion. That essay considered the then nascent networks as spaces for corporate exploitation and warfare, and imagined an art that might flourish in the cracks of the new system. The final sentence was, "It may be that we are standing at the beginning of something." We certainly were at the beginning of something, but whatever it was, that thing is now over. We find ourselves at a new threshold. In 2013, I set out to write an experimental young adult novel. I wanted to rewire some of the feelings I felt coursing through an era marked by the wars of 9/11, recession and debt, climate change, the rise of big tech and social media, outrageous luxury and decadence. I gave up after 8 months. The book was a mess. It didn't help that I had interlarded it with my own older essays. I had recently received invitations to publish my collected writings, but I declined, preferring to steal the idea and do it my way. For some reasons, that meant inserting my art writings into the novel as pieces penned by the main character, a weirdly articulate 10-year-old girl whom ad companies hire to write reports on tween life. The book hardly needed this perversion, as a plot summary will show. Our protagonist is hired to write a piece by her schoolteacher, who's secretly a witch and part of a rogue group of ex-DARPA coders working to prevent evil Margay from completing the final spell, which is in fact the internet, which was a Cold War project to build not a communications network, but a digitally coded spell to vanquish American enemies, which has been recoded to unleash apocalypse. And it's all the more binding for being a spell collectively and unwittingly written by all humanity. And the girl learns her pervy psychotherapist is one of the evil Magi whom we accompany on a mission to kill a commodities trader and his art advisor partner in their off-grid tropical stronghold. And the teacher is slain for her eyeballs, which can retinally unlock an MIT mainframe containing ancient wisdom. And then the girl's therapist magically swaps bodies with her, causing confusion, and so on and on. 300 pages of ruin into the drawer. I wrote a different novel, Fuck Seth Price, and moved on. 5 years passed, and I took another look. My heap of debris evoked a boom time that had been brutal, confused, and decorated with silly baubles. It felt like a personal, effectual prehistory of the Trump era, all jumbled up. My own art writings of the aughts, the authenticity-obsessed lifestyle and consumerism of the 2010s, shamanism and spells, the continuous deferral of an effective left response to the crisis of neoliberalism, food and fashion and boutique hotels. I rummaged for excerpts, broke them into pieces, let them ferment and transform each other. Here they are, bits of texture from the time between September 11 and COVID-19.
Okay, thank you, Jutta. Thank you. That was the introduction to Seth's book and another reading about Picasso's exciting sex life. um, we are now going to be joined by Chris Bollen. Chris, if you are hearing this, we're about to add you. So wait for a second. So many of you may already know Chris Bollen is a writer, and he is calling in from New York. Hi, Chris.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, good, good. Well, I'm so honored to be here to celebrate Seth, and I want to apologize because I think Seth did write an amazing young adult novel, and I think sometimes maybe you're only as good as your first reader, and maybe I was too harsh on my criticism of it. But I'm glad, we write things and sometimes they become tables and sometimes they become shelves and, things always end up going somewhere. So I'm happy to have this copy here. And I want to say for years, I've been telling writers to do full bleed back portraits, which were very popular in mid 20th century. And then the portraits got smaller and smaller of authors. Maybe they got less good looking. I don't know. But I'm glad Seth is bringing back this full bleed back portrait.
I would agree.
All right, so I'm going to read two things, and I'm going to hop around a little bit. The first thing I'm going to read is a little bit from this amazing sort of a street, a stream of consciousness, street of New York poem. It is on page 46. It's called Runes of Fire. I'm just going to read a few parts of it that I really liked.
Okay, cool.
All right, here we go. So this is the brief of it is, we have been working on our novels, the ones we were always being encouraged to write. Mine was a kind of electronic weather diary. It was a good way of talking about myself. And so that's just the briefer on it. Okay. Tuesday, October 30th, 6:50 a.m. Buried somewhere deep inside the domicile, awakened to the new age chimes ringtone. I love this alarm. Been years now I'm on it. Uncanny when it rings next to me on someone's phone. I once had a homemade meowing kitten ringtone. It made for many odd moments, most memorably when my pocket meowed in an airport bathroom, lined up in the stalls between fellow urinators, heads jerked but immediately snapped back. Must stay inhuman. Bettina's still sleeping. I feed the cats, try to wake Lou by switching on Power 105's The Breakfast Club at high volume. She typically sleeps until 7:30. But hopefully can be subliminally socialized at a young age to as much Drake as possible. Yesterday, Dr. Phil was on talking about a girl who is black who insists she's white. At least I think that was it. I was listening from the kitchen. Today is newish Drake, then something that sounds like Juice WRLD or another sing-songy emo rapper. When I was little, teen rap was Fat Boys, Nucleus, and the Roxanne Wars. Now it's more angsty. Then there's a track with Snoop on, what sounds like Midnight Star Curious. Something about half listening from the next room suggests that Midnight Star was laboring under the spell of sexual healing. Okay, I'm jumping a little bit. Check Yahoo Messenger account. Something's off. I'll try later. Go buy 192 books on a break from installing. Buy a Harry Who catalog and a new Alexander Kluge book called Drilling in Wood, predictably cool, but provokes feelings. I now will exploit this opportunity to score-settlingly confess to petty vexation at Kluge's recent Art World Love Fest. He rocked my world in college, and I talked to him up in dispersion, yet subsequently felt no one picked up on how crazy he was. Christ's sakes, Rachel even just told me she did some convo with him. In the late 90s, I actually emailed him to collaborate. His deflating reply, Dear Seth, I am no longer interested in fiction and filmmaking. Now I'm into quantum physics. It took a while to realize it was a different Alexander Kluge, some Weisenheimer CERN lab rat. Anyway, haha, kidding, of course. I know how small and petty those feelings are. Obviously, it's overshadowed by my happiness for him and the spread of cool shit in the world in general. Message from Spencer, who is actually listening to soundtracks for artists while he paints. We both have shows opening next week, so there is bonding. He employs the word awesome. Psyched because he happens to be a real painter and a real DJ. Recall that he once wrote a week-long eating diary for some foodie site with a similar vibe to this. Make a mental note to invite him to Consumer Report Survivor Group. Maybe open doors a little wider? There's another Seth Price out there. I constantly crush him on Google ranking, which must hurt, seeing as how he's a marketing guru focused on personal branding. Occasionally, I like to think I ditch social media to let Seth Price have it all to himself. We both lived in Providence at the same time, which obviously confused the robots because Credit Identity Services keeps sharing his address with me mistakenly, criminally. Figure I'll just drive up to his place for a sit-down. We can Yelta this shit out. Strong suspicion we could be friends. Could even share a checkbook. Just leave off the address. All right, then one little bit more that I like. Get home late, Lou's still up with a stomach ache. Turns out they completed the whole season without me. What? And reveal who won. Nancy? Bettina crashes. I try to calm Lou's stomach while we browse for Smithsonian Picturepedia, an internet on paper. We play a game where we flip to random spreads, cars, earthquakes, bread, and try to guess each other's favorite pick. The fashion spread lays everything out by decade, claims the 80s and 90s were about individuality, while everything since then is anything goes. And then I just wanted to read for this from the last two stanzas, I believe, from this poem, Who Dreamt the World, which is about boutique hotels destroying Manhattan. So on page 32, I highly recommend it, but I'm just going to read the last two stanzas of it, and then I'll stop, which I loved. And it made me very sad, because I do love Manhattan, obviously. We all do. And the line, I really like Manhattan. I like how completely blank it is, how cruelly empty it feels. It feels empty of feeling. All the feeling was sucked out through leak holes and tourists and rich people, and natives who extract feeling cues from tourism and luxury and everything else that does not care. A word from the locals. Accept the wad of cash casually with a lazy down swipe, looking off like you do not care, and saunter off. And make sure you pause and carefully count it as soon as you're out of sight. All right.
Chris, thank you so much. That was excellent.
Thank you. Thanks so much for inviting me.
Well, have a good rest of your afternoon in New York, and we'll see you on hopefully outside of a screen before too long.
I love that. I hope to see you soon.
Okay. Ciao.
Bye.
Okay, so that was super. We're now going to have an IRL reading by Ms. Josephine Pryde, who is joining us here. Okay. So Josephine, I'll leave you to it.
Thank you. Thank you, Carly. Thank you, Julian. Thank you for the invitation and the chance to reconnect with Seth's work tonight this way. I've chosen two pieces that oscillate a little bit between having a job and being an artist and the job of being an artist. The first one's called Manager's Report. Tonight there were 5 buses on the 2nd floor, 4 buses on the 3rd floor, and first floor's buses did food running due to the floor being closed. However, I was pulled from 2nd floor busing to help the bay hosts and take drink orders. This left 3 people on the tea line and 1 person at the main bar. There was an issue on the 2nd floor with Jeremiah wandering off, leaving Jason Jordan to bus the floor. Gunnar was asked to leave the third floor to help the second floor while Zach spoke with Jeremiah. This caused Jeremiah to work slightly harder, but he still did not want to do the closing duties that he was delegated. Aside from that, he would also take a bus cart down and leave it for others to clear. On the flip side, Chad did very well on the third floor. Morgan, Eric and Gunnar played to his strength and had him run bus carts to the dish pit and back. Joseph did well bussing the main bar tables as well. He organises the bus carts very well and could probably save us a lot of trips to the dish pit if we could get everyone to organise the carts the way he does. Jordan did well on the second floor also, but she is more comfortable working as a food runner. She also helped clear the back dock, which Zach and Bruce checked. The back dock was, however, mostly cleared when we discovered 4 or 5 mats that the kitchen had set outside while it was being cleaned. Jace took a picture of the mats to document it. This just added more time and frustration to the clean-up process back there. As far as drink running goes, the bay hosts did pretty well with taking their own drinks on the second floor when they were able to. The only host that there were any issues with was Jessica Arata. She would see her drinks in the well and just expect Fawn to take them as soon as possible, which is not fair to the drink runner or other hosts. The last point that needs to be covered is the maggots under the dumpsters. Water was not effective on them tonight. Some type of repellent or killer is needed to rid the dumpsters of them. Okay, and then the second piece, I think I'm going to read all of it because I can't decide which bits to leave out. So, hold up, you talking about British knights? Why do they love air conditioning and the movement of fans that make artificial winds and huge quantities of ice in their drinks, these Americans of the flaming interior? One must look to the past, the ancient ways, the old rooms, to understand the present. That's why we base most of our movies on older franchises. I'm resuscitating a defunct and risible sneaker company of the new Jack Swing era to embark on a dusty series of collaborations with well-known contemporary artists. We take a series of paintings, slice up the canvas, under your strict supervision of course, and stitch that to the outside of the sneaker, quarter panel of duck between midsole and tongue, so people can literally walk a mile in your shoes. The right attitude to have when one's artistic creation is attacked is, why should I be expected to defend it? Late 20th century artists were generally allergic to new technologies of labour and efficiency, favouring the honesty of grit, dirt and chance, as if we praised poverty and imprecision and the appearance of not caring. These things were very finely considered. Yes, of course we are interested in punk rock and free jazz and general messiness, but in fact we are interested only in a controlled messiness. That's what we like, controlled anarchy. That's why straw men tout graffiti as a model. The projection upon a controlled surface of bristling urbanism of the quality of imagination, the clash of sophistication with primitivism, and all that is not said there, the apparently haphazard nature, above all, the framing. If you can manage to frame it this one way, you are then able to usher in a lot of rogue operatives who may use the slipstream to enter surreptitiously. Forgetting that, what we like is an archaeology of things that never were cool, expressions of a risk-averse cowpoke mentality embedded in a once popular vernacular, now defunct and incoherent. We never would have gone back and started listening to grunge or acid house or jungle. Instead, we found New Jack Swing from around the same time. Forget the movement from the centre to the margins, intention to chance, certitude to instability, wholeness to fragment. By 9/11, a sea change was underway. Digital tools were no longer just the province of new media drones, technicians, hackers, miscellaneous comp sci grads. The stigma slowly lifted. Artists felt free to gaze deeply into the abyss, citing the critical potential in flashing an iPhone, opening a laptop, settling into the role of symbol manager, Invest this dumb shit with knowing fire like the Stoics who believed there to be a ball of fire at the centre of our wretched selves. In fact, it is clear that the objects and ideas being created today are quite possibly superior to those of the past. Not to deny the value of all that has come before, rather to insist on the positive qualities of the expanded field, the sheer quantity of design, business ideas, marketing, garments. If I were a company looking to distinguish my product, or for that matter, an artist seeking strategy for same, I would think hard about how individual people make themselves stand out from the pack each day on this sloped plane. Weird names? Nonsense? Crazy spellings of known words? Bad design? Abuse of familiar codes and vernaculars? Purposeful awkwardness? To be institutionalized is to be removed from society. But at least that gives you an idea what society is. An institution commands you to resent it, for which you resent it all the more. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Josephine. Okay, thank you very much, Josephine. Also, always nice to have an English accent. Okay, we are now going to, let's see. Well, so we should now have Kim Gordon join us. So Kim, if you want to like request the live, then we can add you as a reader. I think I saw you pop up here somewhere, but maybe I can just do it this way. Yes, maybe I can just do that. Okay. Okay. Hey, Kim.
Hi. Hey, I am live from LA.
Good morning.
Good morning. I chose end of story. Actually, I have to take these off because they bother me. But I'm going to do it with this. I chose this poem to read, and I'd forgotten actually what the intro said about the teens, it being originally a novel written, a teen novel, basically. Anyway, I'll just start. End of story. I'm incapable of love. It's my best quality, my most useful quality. Like most other 10-year-old girls, I've never been on a date. I haven't been out dancing or gone to the club. I haven't been to a Broadway production or a fashion show. I don't have socials. I haven't learned a sport or an instrument. I haven't picked someone up at a bar. I didn't go home with them. Our lovemaking was not savage at first and then tender. I haven't walked around all day in a haze, 'cause I can't get you out of my head. I don't know any of the things that all the songs and poems say. Never been obsessed with anyone but myself. And I don't like myself. To paraphrase Rick Owens, my best and worst quality is I'm a selfish cunt. And this is precisely why you prize my writing, why you pay top dollar. All this here isn't really written in my voice, but it's close enough for a little friction, for speech rubbed against writing, like everything nowadays. Rubbed just enough to send up some smoke, and not enough to catch fire. That's what we kind of like, a fading hint of warmth and a lasting smokescreen. I write the world of materials, processes, industrial interaction, somewhat different to your focus on the world of empathy, interrelational processes, people vibes. You are focused on your intake of minimally processed materials, low foods like nuts, berries, algae, plankton, lichen. Whereas I am focused on the intake of maximally processed worlds, meaning that I sing the birds, the winds, the sea. Aleister Crowley advised that we keep a magical journal or diary of our experiences and ideas, even down to the vagaries of the weather. And is this not what people do today? But this is ancient wisdom, folks. If we look to the Gnostic Gospels, like the discourse on the 8th and the 9th, we find a dialogue form in which the teacher shows the student gnosis starts by looking within and keeping your written account. Our cabal is in favor of stories that have no end, stories that are constant flows, fragments lacking conclusion. That's why our cabal has cultivated social media. Working together, it declares, we may finally write the spell to end it all. We aim to live slowly in the spell that ends the story.
Thank you, Kim.
Sure.
All
Have
right.
a good one.
See you later. Stay clear of skulls. Okay. Okay. And that was great. I like this idea of spells and the internet spells and what kind of code and spells. Where is the line between spells and code? I don't know. I was just thinking. In any case, we're now going to be joined by Emily Sundblad. If Emily is there, let's see, Emily. Emily. Okay, if not Emily, then do you want to read? Let's see. Emily, if you're here and I just don't see you, request to go live. Also, Stacy, you would be up next. So, do you want to read, or should we?
Yeah, I can read the.
Okay.
I can read what's written on the wall behind us. Yes.
Okay.
Just to satiate the curiosity that I know has been burning.
Oh wait, Emily says she's trying to join. Okay.
You'll have to wait even longer. Can you handle it?
Okay, let's see, Emily. I'm gonna find you.
Down.
Yeah, I'm gonna find you, Emily. Somewhere here. Hey, Tobias.
There.
Okay, Emily. All right, adding Emily Sundblad live from New York City. Hi, Emily.
Hi, Carly. Hey.
Where are you right now?
Oh, I'm by Artist Space. I'm in New York City. I think I'm on White Street.
Cool.
Yeah. This is so cool. I just, this is also, it's very lame of me, but maybe I'm supposed to read the Rogue's Castle part.
Oh, great.
But I don't think I can do it because I don't know how to read from my phone and be on Instagram at the same time.
Oh, double click the, if you have it up in like a PDF, just double click the little circle at the bottom, and that will give you the option to switch to another window, and it will still be broadcasting. You just won't see us, but that doesn't matter.
But maybe let's move to the next one and I'll try to figure it out. So
Okay.
I won't waste too much time.
Rogue's Castle? Or do you want to hold it? Oh, we can hold it up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably backwards.
It's backwards.
Oh, shoot.
Just move on to the next one and maybe we can figure it out. But
Okay.
it's an honor to be a part of this, and you're all so cute. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, we'll try again later, yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Just let us know when you're ready.
Just
I will.
send a note when you're ready.
I will.
Chris says hi.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Okay, and what's our time also? Because I don't want to. Maybe we actually have Stacy come on. And then,
Sure.
so Stacy, if you're ready, we'll actually.
40 minutes, so we have some time. But yeah, sure.
Okay, Stacy is now good because maybe we, let's see.
Go back for a second.
Go back.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Oops, we're getting a question. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, Stacy. Okay, Stacy Skolnick. We're gonna add you right now. Stacy is also in New York. Okay. Hey,
How's it going?
what's up?
Nice to see you.
You too. What are you gonna read today?
I am gonna read a poem about ranch dressing.
Oh, sounds great.
Thanks to Seth for inviting me to participate in the celebration, and congratulations on the book, of course. This one is called Be a Yes in No Land.
Okay.
Pretend to be a food curator, just for a minute. Which genius hit upon ranch dressing? Who was the man behind the curtain? Some toiler of the early post-war era, I thought. Some idiot savant. Ignorant of the way the winds of big food were blowing. Nonetheless borne on these unseen currents. After all, what we know as processed food has only come about since the 40s, and the genius of ranch was that it seemed, maybe initially was, wholly natural. What could be more down-home than buttermilk? Yes, its hallmark attributes are ones which we now associate almost exclusively with highly processed foods. A rich, adhesive mouthfeel, a seductive, salty sweetness, finished with a hint of fermentation. Ranch, a harbinger in a pizen file. The path was lit, and the lamp has a brassy mouthfeel. A shortcut for big food to take in and get taken in the second half of the century. In this way, ranch may be seen clearly as a complex dialectical wish image dreamed into being by a forward-looking girl, caught up in the dizzying winds of cultural lamplighting. Ranch bore within it the seeds of our present moment, where artifice is ubiquitous, for it has that most elusive quality, simulated artifice. Of course, by the time food culture arrived at a new housing, packaged marvels of my 80s, Yoplait, Capri Sun, fruit roll-ups, ranch dressing itself was heavily processed, thus suitable for licensing to the big guy, who farmed a tremendously successful Cool Ranch. And by the 90s, ranch had achieved supremacy without losing the curious and unique inner fold. About inner folds. You see, we prefer artifice, and this includes the appearance of naturalness, and to a limited degree, we do appreciate some things about unspoilt nature, e.g., there's no such thing as dirty, and it's always taken just as it is, with no second guessing. You don't say, okay, well, but the undergrowth is too sparse, and the muck is off. In general, though, we prefer nature, when it's failing. Masses of brown shrubbery choking a stone foundation where the farmhouse was, stranded in sere fields, or withered daisies jackknifed over the rim of a crystal vase. Nature is what decomposes. All else is by definition unnatural. Anyway, that's the common understanding, but we disagree. We kind of like plastic surgery, since we make common cause with all those desires and non-positions that seem crazy and unimaginable, and yes, of course, the wealthy have cleaved off into a separate population. It's not just that they can afford alterations of some sort. After all, the working class also does whiten teeth, fake tans, boob jobs, and cock tugs. It's that the aristocratic adobe akshui departs from a popular and pedestrian vision of beauty. This is not grotesque or decadent. It's just the future. You can say, oh yes, the future is all about gradual mixing, blah blah, till most people are mid-sized, light brown, and genderless. But the wealthy won't stand for that. For them, the future is all about savage individuality, like women who try to look like men, men trying to borrow from women's game, just tired debris from back in the dawn of free and open expression. I am more like the tendency of young actors to bulk up, to work out 6 hours a day and exhibit huge bodies on screen, similar to public desire for an art of unambiguous evidence of intensive labor, like photorealistic painting, minutely detailed drawings, insane finishes on sculpture, etc. We want our screen lives to be a combination: intensive workout, plastic surgery labor, artificial retouching labor, CGI compositing labor, and money, i.e. labor. When you look on screen to see teens making love, it's actually like catching your parents in the act, all over again. Teens making love, this is your culture's primal scene. Now we begin to sense a mass of countless older people extending into the night on all sides, all shining eyes on the center where you're standing by a bonfire, so close as to be part of the fire. First, an inner ring of jeering teenagers standing a bit too close. Behind them, a huddle of distracted young adults, harder to pick out from the skulking circles of people in deeper shadow. And beyond them, a lurking mass, unwell and unhappy forever. And everyone's gazes are so intense, fiery looking. You daren't turn and look at whatever it is that's so interesting to them, but the heat behind you is pushing you out and away and into some loose, floppy arms.
Thank you, Stacy. That was very beautiful.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Well, also I should say that all the people who you heard read today are also really great thinkers and writers in their own right, and many of them have also published things. I know, Stacy, you're also a writer, in addition to working with Montez Press Free Radio. So it's great to have all these different minds and voices to the words that Seth has written.
Yeah. And everyone can hear more from Seth and New Models on the radio too. And hopefully we'll air more of this soon also, again.
Yeah, cool. So all of this may actually end up, if the audio quality is okay, may end up being, have a second life as some kind of audio stream or radio show at some point in the future. We'll see what works.
Yeah, cool. It's good to see you.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Stacy. See you later.
Bye.
Okay. Jeez. Okay. And so I guess now, maybe Juliana got stuck in traffic. I'm not sure. There was a text that popped up here. But I think what we can do is we can maybe read one more. We should read the text.
Sure, we can read the wall text, and then we take a 5 minute.
We take a 5-minute break because this is going to end, and then anybody who wants to come back on for an AMA with Seth about this work. But I mean, Seth's been in the game for a long time and is like one of the artists that has been thinking about the way the internet changes us as subjects, the way it organizes our bodies, the way it reframes and changes the way that we engage with art, the way that we engage with writing, and for a very long time. And so we're going to do an AMA with him after this feed ends. And so if you want to send your questions, there's a little question box.
Yes, but please send them
after this one. So write them down or something, like type them somewhere and send them to us as soon as we start the next stream. And then we'll go through and we'll pose those questions to Seth and then he'll answer live. Okay.
Great. And I will read Burn the Groves, which is behind us on the wall. So if you have an iPhone 13 XXXXXXL, you could probably hold it up to the mirror and also read along. Here, Burn the Groves. We have based all of this on an older structure that was hoisted on 4 posts. It's actually the strongest kind of structure. What? Oh, for sure. Far stronger than a tripod. Here goes law, finance, healthcare, real estate. But what be this hellish matrix exactly? It demands exactitude. Everything must be allowed to be itself, of course, but only in terms of quantification. Cicero said, if you have a garden and a library, you have everything you need. On the one hand, you cultivate an appreciation for the achievements of the past. Steep yourself in the archive of human accomplishment. On the other hand, You cultivate living stupid things with your own hand, pledging your soul to messy and transient beauty. That might have suited the ancients, sure. Today, though, things are a tad complicated. The business mindset says Cicero equals onto something. But if a garden is good and a library is good, how do we make it even better? Why, take it to the next level. Encapsulate garden and library in a single structure. Reduce the variety, compress the symbol. So this could mean a few things. Maybe you construct a diminutive library structure within a walled garden, a place to peruse the achievements, the plastic girl's hand mirror, held up to show ideal Western culture, such as the classical research university model seen throughout our glistening 20th century, or manicured tech company campuses, business parks, and so forth. However, the reverse is potentially cooler. A garden inside a library, if you really want to take things to the next level, which would mean not simply placing a bed of flowers or a potted fig in a library lobby, no, nothing like that. It's splicing the concepts. Insist they inhabit the same coordinates. Call it the new science of galabardringery, micro old French vibe, or we can also potentially tweak this to your likeness. Moss on the books, vines tossed from shelves, roots swole the floor, fractured your pavers, like best love images we know already, scanning from the inner eye. This is Gaia reasserting herself in the post-apocalyptic city. One form of cultivation running riot with another. A perfect summation of Cicero's vision, because also a perversion. Break the circuits, burn the groves. Do not transcend, cannibalize.
All right.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
We'll be back in,
just a minute. Like, we'll be back in like 5 minutes.
We'll be back, 5 minutes.
Yeah, cool. And hopefully that's, okay, cool. So yeah, we'll be back in like 5 minutes. Log back on, and we'll be back with Seth to ask some questions, and maybe Josephine too, if you want to be, I don't know if you'd also like to be part. Okay, well, we can figure this out in 5 minutes. Okay, ciao. Bye, guys. Thank you. Oh, wait. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay, bye.